there we go. Hey, as I'm doing this, I'm multitasking because I have a message from one of the people in Montana that I did this film with, which we're going to talk about today, and Richard or Richie, and he's just telling me he can't be on the show today. But luckily, I'm very excited to say that we have our guest today on the show. Her name is Tina Buckingham. She is a casting director, and I know many other things too in the Montana area. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about, I don't know what, how about acting or filmmaking? Couple things. I'm adding in a new segment today that's called, I think, something like Tech, and I put a little bunch of weird characters to replace any kind of expletive that you might want to put it in there. Just because I love technology, and one of the things you should know about me and the show is that I'm constantly talking about the fact that, and here we are in 2022. That's amazing. And the fact is that you can grab your iPhone, and this is the 13 Pro Max, which we're going to do a little tech review. That's why I said that. We're going to start doing tech reviews on lights, camera, action. I like how I put that one together, huh? Anyway, we'll be doing that type of stuff, and down to who knows what. Maybe even this coffee cup holder I have, which is heating my coffee as we speak. Anyway, today, a lot of great stuff, but mainly I kind of want to focus on the fact that a lot of times I get a lot of direct messages from actors and people in the industry saying, "Hey, tell me how you do what you do. You're very active in your Instagram and your social media. You look like you're working a lot," and so on and so on. And I'm going to tell you the secret, in my opinion, for me, is that stop thinking about just your area. I mean, if you live in LA, got it. If you live in New York, I understand. Chicago, London, the major hubs. But let's be honest, Atlanta has pulled up right alongside LA and maybe even surpassed them with, Tyler Perry's studios and the Avengers. I know they're doing a lot of their stuff and places like that and places like Montana. So we're going to talk about that because if you're thinking, you got horse blinders on as an actor or even a filmmaker, and you're thinking only about your area, I got to tell you, stop it. Go on to IMDb. I recommend you get IMDb Pro, and you can see they have jobs there and searching things. My last four films, two Netflix. I'm not the last one I just did, which is The Redeemer, which we'll talk about. Netflix and Amazon Films, films in Mumbai, India, films in Brazil, films in China. All of them I got myself. I mean, to the point where my agents call me up and go, "Why do you need us?" I don't know. Why do I? But the point is that sometimes obviously you need your agents so you can get into the room of things that you would never ever be able to get into. But fact is that you can do all this by yourself, and I highly recommend it. And that's what we're always talking about on the show. So without further ado, let's launch right into it. I'm very excited. Our guest from Montana area, and I don't know actually if Tina. I'm going to ask her in a second if she's from the Livingston area or where she actually lives. But normally I have all these big fanfare, and I'll show a demo reel or something like that. But in this case, I'm going to bring her on. And I think you're going to love this because with that, we're going to do something like this. Where's my sound effects? There it is. Wait, it didn't work. Oh no, my applause didn't work. Wait a second. Hold on.
Oh,
There it is. Should we try again? Tina Buckingham, casting director, and I know many other things. Welcome to the show.
thank you.
Yeah. We I don't think we physically were able to meet. I was doing something else, like maybe trying to fix my funky tooth or my eye that I had in the shop. But I did see on Instagram you had a shot with Tim V. Murphy and a couple of the other actors, and I'm like, why don't I get a chance to meet her? So I decided to just take a solo here and do it this way.
Yeah,
But
I
welcome to
love
the
it.
show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, let's go right into it. Give me a little background here, or give our audience a little background. You've been a casting director for how long? Did you start somewhere else, and how did you end up in Montana?
I was in television in Boston after I graduated from college
Hmm.
and I'm not a city girl. So I decided to come to Montana for adventure,
Okay.
and movies followed me.
There you go. Thank you very much. Have a good
So,
day.
yeah. So I worked on my first movie in 1974 in Montana, Rancho Deluxe.
Wow. What was
Yeah.
it for? Was it for, obviously it was for a network or a production house because back then they didn't have like Amazons and so on.
No, but it's a huge indie film that was um what do you call the ones that everybody follows? You know what I mean? It's a
Oh, you mean like a cult film? No.
Yeah, it's a cult film.
Okay. Okay.
It still is. It's a
Yeah.
big deal. Yeah.
Wow. That's good. In what genre?
Funky.
Funky. I had a
Yeah.
I had a horror film festival on last time, and I for the life of me she kept saying, "Yeah, it's a trash film." I'm like, "Does that mean it's bad?" She goes, "It's a trash film. It's a trash film." I'm like, "I don't know what that is." So now I've added to my vocabulary in the dictionary of Film Festival Live, funky.
Yes.
Good.
Although I don't know what to classify all of the westerns that have been done here this summer, or well, this year,
Yeah.
because each one is grittier than the last and more gruesome. So, what do you call an 1800s gruesome story?
I
Gritty,
would
gritty, gritty. I mean, they're grittier than gritty.
I would call it a following in the same tracks as what was the name? Deadwood, a Deadwood
Yes,
wannabe. And
yes,
by the way, I'll make a note on that and to say that, yeah, I think a lot of times people are trying to outdo themselves and they're the Quentin Tarantinos and stuff like that and make it even more gruesome instead of going storyline. And
right,
traditional Western people, because trick roper, gun spinner, whips, all the stuff I do. I have all my true blue Western fans that go, "Oh, I don't want to see that. They're just going to be having sex all the time and they're going to be killing people and cutting their heads off." And I'm like, what can you do? The days of the 60s westerns, I don't know, are they gone? Are they just trying to, get your attention? Just another thing, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Did you
It's just
start when you
Go
came
ahead.
to, sorry to interrupt you, yeah. Did when you came to Montana, did you say, you know what, I'm gonna start a casting company, or did you start off? How did you start off though?
Oh, I started off as an extra.
Oh,
And in the 70s, I found a movie every summer to be an extra on.
wow,
I was in Missouri Breaks with Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson.
wow.
I was in my big one was Heaven's Gate, and I was an extra. I was an immigrant for 3 months,
Oh my gosh.
doing things like riding on top of trains and roller skating in wool clothing in a rink and going into battle and
Wow.
things like that. And it was a very fun
I
experience.
bet. It
So then movies stopped coming here for a while. That was 79, and movies stopped coming here for a while. So I was home raising kids,
mhm.
and movies came back in the late 80s. And so I literally walked into a production company and said, I'm here, put me to work. And I wrangled extras casting and I didn't know how to do it.
But you did it.
So I just figured my way through. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. So when you talk about the that one film for 3 months, I kind of all of a sudden reminds me of 1883. If you are watching that at all, uh,
Yes,
being the German immigrants and that. And I imagine, I mean, those people are in it to win it. I mean, they're going to be there. That group
right.
of people, they can't change that group. So, with that being said, that's kind of a major commitment, and I can't imagine it wouldn't be a fun one for people who, one, love to do any kind of acting, to be able to get their foot in the door because they're going to be on this series because I don't think that's going anywhere. They're doing quite well with it. So,
Right.
do you have any connection doing anything with that series?
No, they're in Texas.
Oh, Really?
They
Okay.
are not in Montana. They came up here for a week in November to film some winter stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's
but
it.
they're totally in Texas.
Huh.
I think they're going to come to Montana eventually because it is the story of the Dutton family
Yes.
um, coming to
Mon-
Montana and getting the ranch.
right.
But yeah, they're in a long haul on that series.
Yeah, and actually, that's an interesting. I never thought about that, but they are coming from it because they do mention Texas. I think I want to say Galveston. I forget where they mention in the series, but the point is that yeah, they're going to end up in Montana. So from a cinematography and a story standpoint, obviously they want to start and see these visuals from Texas and travel across the country, and then
Right.
eventually see the beautiful Montana, all the stuff out there, which I know because I've been to Livingston, by the way, home of Calamity Jane, and I think where she was born. And so I've actually been there before doing my trick roping shows. And so it was kind of neat to go back there. But this time, spending what, 16, 17 days and just real briefly, but the people, the place, and everything about it, just they're just so nice.
Yeah.
And don't you're doing the whisper thing. I'm sorry, it's too late because when you go
Oh, it's
down,
way too late.
a lot of
It's way too.
transplants, a lot of
Yeah.
transplants.
I love it though. It's vitalizing and culturally exciting
Yeah,
and yeah,
yeah,
and the movie thing is unbelievable.
yeah.
I mean, I've probably done one movie a year over the last 9 years, and now I've on my ninth movie in 9 months.
Oh my. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you bring up a very interesting point that I've had the conversation a few times since the Rust, the Alec Baldwin thing is that
Yeah,
look, I'm in this industry of films and the Western stuff. And I thought
right.
for sure when that happened, all of my friends were calling me up going, we're done. We're done. We're never going to do a Western again. But lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I'm hooked up with
Yeah,
Miles and I'm coming to Montana to shoot a
yeah,
big feature. And then
yep,
from there, finding out that Richie, who is the Richie Gray, who is, we'll see this in a second, who is the
yeah.
Yellowstone Film Ranch, saying, "Oh no, I got 5 or 6 of these things lined up," and and I'm hearing all over the place now and seeing the casting directors that I know saying, "Will, Western, Western, Western." It blows my mind a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So,
Me too. I love them.
have you seen a dip at all?
No, no. It's the Film Ranch is going to be booked solid.
Wow.
And we've been waiting for something like this. We had a nice little movie ranch north of Livingston that got bought out by Marlboro, and
All
they
right.
privatized it. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, so we can't shoot up there anymore. So Richie and his partners were very smart
Yeah.
to build, and I've said that for years. Um, we have filmed in our historic towns, Virginia City and Nevada City, but they're old towns,
Yeah.
and we needed a new build town because that's what towns were in the 1800s. They
Right.
were new build.
Yeah. And if you look at
Yeah,
the shots here,
it's just gorgeous there. And of
yeah.
course, there's miles and miles with no telephone poles or people or
Right.
just sky.
Yeah,
And
this is 2 shots that are taken
yeah,
off the website, which you can go to YellowstoneFilmRanch.com. But this is spectacular. The view, by the way, it
yeah.
looked a lot warmer there in these pictures than it actually was. 12 degrees our first day shooting, and it was up in the mountains area, and it was blizzardy. And there is nothing better. They say that the success, I'll show you other pictures here in a second. There we go. There is, when you shoot a Western or really any film and you shoot it in the snow, they almost kind of say that there's a success factor that you increase your film or your project because of that. And I got to tell you, I saw some of the dailies and some of the other shots and just some amazing, amazing stuff up there. And the town helped me with this one, strengthen this, but the town is so helpful. Sarah, who is the yellow,
Yeah.
she's a wonderful, I can't remember her last name, but we have a story about her coming up, not this show, but next one, about her ranch and how, for the last how many years she's provided from horses to places for commercials. And I know the
Oh, you
Marlboro
mean
Ranch.
Melissa O'Hare?
What's that now?
Do you mean Melissa O'Hare?
No, the person who
Sarah
drove us
Hubbard?
around, yeah, Sarah Hubbard, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's wonderful. She drove us around, myself and Tim Murphy, and we did a story on her, which we'll see. It's actually going to come out in a couple of the newspapers in Montana and Texas and Tennessee, and they were very excited about that. I got contacted before I came to Montana because they wanted me to do a story about what Westerns are going to be doing because of the whole Rust thing. So I wound up doing more lifestyle, wonderful things about the area that you live in. Let me go to a question here that I know a lot of my actors are here listening. Are you getting the pool of actors that you need for the fact that you're getting blockbuster films and you're getting a lot of big stuff? Are you getting a good response from the talent?
Yes. Um, Not only do we have SAG talent in Montana,
Mhm.
but of course I can pull from anywhere.
Yeah,
And so I post on Backstage and other places where I can get talent to apply.
right.
And I get I get tapes from everywhere.
I bet you do. Well,
Yeah.
and again, that's why in the beginning of my the show here, I talked about the fact that don't keep looking out your window,
Yeah.
physically your window, and go, well, here I am. I'm in Kansas, and that's it, because it's not like
With
that anymore. I mean, you can be a
Not with
local
video
hire.
auditions.
Yeah,
With video auditions,
yeah,
you can live anywhere and work anywhere
absolutely.
and get cast from anywhere.
Are you seeing, here's a big question, are you seeing some decent self tapes? And I say this because I talk to a lot of casting directors, and they're like, well, if they'd stop doing their phone and portrait, and they would probably put the light in front of them instead of back of them, and they're okay sometimes. But how are you getting good stuff?
I, from top to bottom.
Yeah, gotcha.
The thing I love the most is actors who get creative, and if the scene is in a garage, they put themselves in a garage. If the scene is in a barn, they put themselves in a barn.
Yeah,
If they're opening a door, they open the door and then do their audition.
yeah.
But the thing is, you know, what actor thinks it's okay to do their tape in a bathroom?
You are talking about the motto of why I started live streaming and producing for people. Is that I always my byline is we got tired of watching people self taping in a bathroom.
E-
What are you thinking? I mean, it's horrible.
Exactly.
I mean, when you
Yeah,
think about it, the fact is that you're doing it as an actor, you're doing something that you want. I mean, look, I mean, this is about $500 worth of equipment, honestly.
right,
But when they see
right,
self tapes, they go, "Wow, wow, the sound's good, looks good."
right.
First
Yeah,
of all, but point is that, and then I watch actors that they go places and do it,
yeah.
and it still looks bad. And I'm thinking, you do know that first impressions are important, and sometimes they don't
And
get.
how easy is it to practice, to rehearse?
Yeah,
It make your tapes and watch them back and critique yourself,
yeah,
show them to somebody else and say, "Hey, what do you think?"
yeah,
But it's amazing what I get, but some of them are really good and that's enjoyable.
yeah. That is,
And I think self-taping has brought um this to a whole nother level,
yeah,
auditioning,
yeah,
because you have the opportunity to show yourself in the best light,
yeah. Literally,
having memorized the lines,
yeah,
not being intimidated in front of a casting director or a director.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and we rarely do callbacks. A lot of actors are cast right from their tapes.
Sure.
And I did a few callbacks this summer. We did them in a park and it was very relaxed, and 6 feet away. But
Yeah.
I just think that this is a whole new level of auditioning that actors should be seizing.
Well, I've said this on my show many, many times, but I live about 2.5 hours away from Los Angeles, and I'll tell you, I was going 5 or 6 times a week for auditions. Now, a lot of the stuff I was doing was commercial stuff because of all my roping, clown, whatever stuff I do. But come on, 2.5 hours each way to go in there and go to be or not to be, and they go, hey, well, that was awesome. See you later. And
Yep.
now, and I don't think there's any how to say the statement correctly, but there is one good thing about COVID, and that is that it allowed me, which I've been saying for a long time, but I knew that casting directors would sort of think that they would be going out of business before COVID if you said, well, why can't we just send in a self tape? And they're like, oh no, no, we got to be there and do that. Well, there are benefits because look, some people are phenomenal performers, but they're
Right.
horrible, horrible at auditions because they're like, oh god.
Right.
And so, how many more stumbling blocks you want to throw at an actor? It,
Right.
you can't market to casting people or agents. You can't. So you can't do a lot of things. But thank you for letting us do these because now, like you said, you get a great read. You're going to get what they're going to get, and they're going to give you what they think is their best. And by the way, if you see it and go, "Wow, that was bad," then you know. And
Right.
so, a lot of advantages, and I certainly appreciate you acknowledging that. I'm going to take a small break, but can you have more
Hmm.
time to hang with me?
Of course.
Oh, you're awesome. Okay, hang tight. I'm going to do something really quickly. So, one thing I want you to see, this is a new segment that we have. It's a tech thing, and so with that being said, I'm going to sit here like this and look for my intro. There it is, and here it goes. All right, all right. So this is a tech moment. I just wanted to kind of bring this up to you. So if you are, whether you're a filmmaker or you are an actor, and you're thinking to yourself, "Well, I wish I could do this," I have to tell you, it has changed tremendously since I started. Like I think it's like 1982 or something like that, back in the day. And then I worked for Fox and CBS and PBS doing my stuff and what we call a one-man band, which just means you shoot, edit, and produce the stuff yourself. And that is probably one of the best things that you could do is, I guess, get in the trenches, grab your survival kit of this industry, maybe like this, a gimbal. That's a pretty severe one. I have a camera that I've had for a while. It's a GH5. Now the thing is that all this stuff is so relatively inexpensive to be able to get that you can get out there and do your own thing. The only thing that you might be missing is the confidence. And the only way to take care of that, in my opinion, is to be able to do it. Now, if you don't have the wherewithal to be able to, get into the tech stuff and you're freaking out, going, oh, I can't grab those big cameras and so on, you have this. And that's your iPhone. And here's the thing that's important, okay? The thing that's important is that this is the 13 Pro Max. And so it's got the cinema lens, which is awesome because, and this is my review, the camera phone or the phone that's a camera, is that this 13 Pro Max, which I had with me in Montana, gives you basically 4K. The only thing that's really missing on this is that the technology is great and it does have better lenses than the older ones. I have other lenses you can get from Moment or this company here, which is Shift Cam, that you can screw on that will give you a different, 60 millimeter wide angle anamorphic. And the thing is it's all on your phone, and you can shoot in what I call, or what we call in the industry, run and gun. So like you can just shoot it. By the way, just a little tip: please never shoot your films like this, which is in portrait mode, and don't do your auditions like this because they will go, "Oh, that's garbage," and let it go because that's not what you do. Learn how to shoot this way, which is called landscape. It's very important. This camera is great because, like any of the other cameras, we know the equipment already. So it's just a matter of flipping on the camera, going into whatever mode you want, and then shooting it and getting used to it. One last tip I'll give you on that is that always shoot away from the light. Don't shoot into the light. If your subject's here, don't let them be blasted out because you'll need a lot more equipment. I highly recommend that you grab a phone and make it as, updated as you can, without going into a major amount of debt, because these things cost the same as a mortgage payment in some cases, not more. But I do recommend the 13 Pro Max. I love it. There's one other phone which I'm not talking about right now that was told was better. But look, my statement about what the quality is on these phones is, I'll go back to Blair Witch. Wow, 80 something. And remember being at the station at Fox Kids and doing my thing going, okay, well, they just changed the whole landscape of filmmaking because they shot it. It looked like they shot it through someone's like boxer shorts. I don't know what. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is like, and people just went, this is awesome. And they strapped it on with tape and they did what they did because they were being innovative. Do whatever you can to try to get out there as an actor to create as much content as you can, and producers, directors, because not only in this day and age is that the industry looking, everybody's looking, and film festivals are easy, cheap, and they will award you, you know, give you the applause you need. So there it is. There's a tech tip for today. Hang tight. We're going to go back to the next segment right now. Okay, you're back. Hi. Hope you didn't mind me taking.
Hello.
Uh, let me ask you: is there anything burning in your mind that you want to kind of get out? Maybe as a casting director or someone in Montana, that you just like. I'm either so tired of this or I love this. Any of that stuff going on?
No.
No, good answer. Well, there, that makes that answer short.
You
Okay,
know, I used to have an actor's studio where I taught auditioning
yeah, oh, good.
from the casting director's point of view, which is, very helpful for
Yeah,
actors to know the behind the scenes of the casting process.
yeah,
And one of the things that I always told actors is that being chosen for a role is like the director falling in love. There's no rhyme nor reason. It's just a spark that happens, and that's how they get chosen. So, and the other thing is that you're not in competition because you yourself are unique. And so the only honest way to be a film actor is to be yourself.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I appreciate you. I'm just noticing now there were comments on the people are saying things about the photos and so on. So I'm pulling these up. But uh, I we do appreciate you saying that, because the fact is that of the whole food chain of the industry for actors, we
Yeah.
constantly. I mean, from the moment, well, even before we come in until afterwards, until we finally find out whether or not we have or we haven't gotten the role, we're constantly looking at you going, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Right.
Which is not always the best thing to do while you're auditioning, because you need to be focusing on that. But it is good to know what, also based upon your area, your demographic, your what's going
Hmm.
on in that area. Do they want it different? Do they? I mean, because I know L.A. is different than New York, and obviously Montana
True.
is different than Atlanta.
Yep.
So we really do appreciate that. What happened? Did you just decide? Did you stop doing the classes, or you still
I
do?
did because we didn't have enough work.
Oh,
I was
wow.
training people to
You're
work. And
right.
now that there's so much work, there's no time to train the people. But I hit people individually, people that I know that are serious and they start as extras and they want to get roles. And I have cast numerous people over the last few months who have gotten their Taft Hartley and will be joining SAG or have already joined SAG, um, because they're serious about their career. And now they have the opportunity to up, do a film anywhere and
Yeah,
be cast from anywhere.
yeah,
And let's go back to the agent thing. Yes, you need to, actors are finding their own work, but you need that agent to handle your business.
yeah,
Because if I find you and this has happened here these past few months, um, if I find you and put you in a film and the director says, well, I'm going to give you a stunt or a line or a special scene, and you don't know that that's worth a SAG upgrade,
Yep, a bump. Yeah.
you're going to do it for your $100 and go, oh, I was in a movie and I had a
Yeah.
line and everything.
Yeah. No,
So,
there's a whole thing that, union, non-union, I'm what we call FICOR, which means I can do both. And people have their opinions about that, but this is not my hobby. Moving on. Point is that the fact is that you want that, what we call um, that representation, collective bargaining.
yeah.
Because when you think about it, when you have a casting director and you have an agent, there you can't call up yourself anyway. We know that. And you can't go, hey, I'd love you to put me in the film. Can I get a reading? Because they'll be like, hang up and they'll never talk to you.
Yep.
But more importantly, when something goes south, and let's be honest, there's a billion more films and projects nowadays than there was even 5 years ago. And
Oh, yeah.
situation where a non-union or something, well, union, it won't happen as much because you have options, but a non-union says, yeah, we're having a hard time getting the money together. I'm really sorry, but I was there. But when you have the collective bargaining and you have the agent to be able to go, yeah, that's cool that you think that, but here's the deal: four corners of
Yeah.
the page. It's called a contract. You want to get in there and get the information and have representation, because otherwise you're just an actor going, yeah, I don't really know the business, and sure, I'll take $100, like you said. And there's a stunt adjustment, which is $1,500 normally. So
Right.
I couldn't agree with
Yeah. The other thing I'd love to say to actors out there is that a lot of actors don't realize that the casting director usually doesn't have any pull.
you. Oh,
My job is merely to present the director
yeah,
with actors or real people who could be actors
yeah,
until he's happy, he or she
or she, yeah,
is happy with the group that they've got or has found the person that they want to cast.
right.
And until then, my job is not done. I'm still looking under rocks if he's not happy with the actors that I've
Or
presented.
yeah, or she. Yeah. No,
He
no.
or she.
And by the way, I'm going to say the she again because I have had such a great pleasure in the last year dealing with a lot of the Women's Director Association, and they're finally giving them, because I know like Jen Page and some others, she goes by She Wolf, but on Instagram, that are doing a lot of action films, and I think that's awesome. But anyway,
Yeah.
aside from that, I really appreciate you saying that, because actors need to know that you're right. Look, you may be, first of all, don't go on social media, which by the way, you can see Tina's Instagram there, bucking Tina. I will not respond to that, but uh, I used to have a Wild West
Oh,
group, myself and one other guy, called Bucking Idiots, but we won't go into that. Um, but the fact is that you're giving a great pearl of wisdom, and I want to make sure that we understand. Number one, don't go on to Instagram, contact her, and go, "You got anything for me?" You if you establish a relationship with someone, then perhaps there might be a way of having that conversation. But social media is not your way of spamming people saying, "Can you give me work?" And by the way, I get a lot of that, and I'm like, I don't know you. I don't, even if I see your stuff, I don't know what you're. I mean, I'm looking for myself. But the other thing
yeah.
that's really important to say is that you said something very important, which is that you don't have the say so, or the moxie to be able to go, I need you to cast this person. However, let's be honest, don't offend the casting directors, because you won't even get in the door if
Right.
you're rude, or you don't, or you're doing things wrong. There is a
Yep.
protocol to follow. Follow it, or you will be left behind. Right?
Yep. Yes.
There you go. Well, Tina, boy, oh boy, it's been a ball, and we got to talk about Yellowstone. I might have you on again because I'd love to talk about.
Anytime I'd love to.
Yeah, you're awesome. Great, great guest, and I really appreciate the fact that people understand across the board that no matter where you're at in the world, that everybody's opinion in this industry, because it is changing by the moment, is so very important. So if you're in Arizona, or you're in Topeka, Kansas, or you're in Montana, do not underestimate the power of the people that we're talking about, which is like Tina or anybody else in the industry. If you want to work, you get out there. You do as much as you can. I'll say that in my closing statements, but I want to thank you for coming on the show. Any last things you can think of saying?
No, I'm always glad to be your guest, and
You're awesome.
keep people informed out there. It's a great job.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Hang on. I'm going to say goodbye to you officially off this, but give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, everybody, that is the show. Thanks for hanging out. Of course, if you're interested, you can go to oprime.tv, which is where Sal, my partner in New York, has all of the films from film festivals. Really, I just want to be very clear, and I say this almost every show, that you really have the power to be able to do all this now. It's not the same thing as it was, 5, 10, 15 years ago, where the studios had all the power. Of course, if you want to be an Avenger, you probably have to get to a certain level and go from there. But if you want to create things, and when you create things, you want people to stand up and applaud for you, and you want to see them on the big screen. Film festivals. If you go to filmfestivallive.com, which is our site, you can see a lot of them on there. We're constantly interviewing people. Now we have the tips on the equipment. If you have any questions, get a hold of us. You know my Instagram, it's Will Roberts Official. Check it out, and we'll continue to give you as much information as we can. Thanks for watching the show, and we will see you next time. Be safe, be well, but most importantly, be successful. See you soon.